Hello. I was a federal worker who had 1 month left of her probationary period.
The Department of Education has threatened to pull funding from all schools and HBCUs if they do not cut out DEI practices. So that means any schools that have like cultural groups, things like that, you cannot have those anymore. Otherwise, the school will lose funding.
Let's talk about Maga supporters. A lot is going on right now. People are losing their jobs. People are not sure the next paycheck, when it's going to come in, where it's going to come from. People are just worried, especially the federal workers, scientists. They are losing fundings for research because, of course, as scientists, if you have a lab, if you run research, you need grants from the government. You can't really fund the research yourself. So the president is cutting off some fundings and it's affecting their work. And people are saying it's like with time, US is going to have brain drain when it comes to science because the scientists are most likely to move to countries that are more favorable to them. The federal workers are also losing their jobs, like I already mentioned. Let's have a look.
If you think politics and science don't mix, think again. Let's see how recent funding cuts are shaking up research. Trump's recent executive orders have thrown the scientific community into turmoil. By restricting federal funding on crucial topics like diversity, equity, inclusion, and the Green New Deal, researchers are left scrambling. Federal agencies like the NIH and NSF have paused grant reviews and slashed indirect funding. Imagine being a doctoral student unsure if your grant will come through or a researcher unable to pay staff. Programs aimed at increasing diversity in STEM, terminated. Salaries, rejected. This chaos not only threatens ongoing projects but also the future of scientific progress in the US. We're talking about a potential brain drain as young scientists may be deterred from research careers. Injecting political criteria into grant applications weakens the scientific process and harms U.S. competitiveness.
There's a quick update. So apparently, the Department of Education has threatened to pull funding from all schools and HBCUs if they do not cut out DEI practices. So that means any schools that have like cultural groups, things like that, you cannot have those anymore. Otherwise, the school will lose funding. So that means if your kids go to schools and maybe they have a Black Student Alliance or a Latino culture club or an Asian club or anything like that, or if they're teaching any of that literature in school, if the schools do not cut this out, the Department of Education plans on cutting funding to those schools. This also includes HBCUs as well. So y'all better be on the lookout. And for those who voted for this is completely unforgivable. And I understand us as the 92% are sitting down, but at this point, this is an attack on our children. And at this point, this might be the part where we have to step in.
Hello. I was a federal worker who had 1 month left of her probationary period. And today I was told that I will be terminated at some point this week. I'm utterly devastated. I'm confused because my recent performance evaluation was exceptional and I got upwards of $1,500 as a bonus because my performance was so good. And this was my dream job. And it's just being taken away by an administration who doesn't care about science. It doesn't care about people who might be homeless with their dog now. They don't care about our species that we're trying to conserve. That's exactly what my job was doing. It was just to assess habitat conservation for species for a 55-year habitat conservation plan. We should all be so mad right now. We should all be crying like this because I'm just devastated.
I'm sitting here. I don't want to cry, but I feel like the tears are going to start rolling. But I just got an email from a manager telling me to come into the office tomorrow and bring all my government issue equipment. So I'm thinking that they laid me off. I've been working with the IRS for a couple months now, and I just don't understand how this is legal. I have a daughter, I have responsibilities, I have bills, and he just comes and lays people off. How does he sleep at night knowing that he's taking income away from so many families?
This is indeed a hard pill to swallow for those workers that are affected. No one deserves to lose their job in this current economy. Things are so expensive and finding another job is difficult. Federal work has always been the job with the most job security, if I'm not mistaken. So it's shocking to see what is going on. Let's have a look at the comment section. This happens every day with non-government jobs. It happened to my daughter last year. She went to apply for tons of jobs and is finally back working in a job she loves. Fellow Fed workers, so sorry to hear this. Please look into state jobs. I worked for the state before Fed, and they're always looking for great hires. Started with IRS in July, and my whole training class was terminated yesterday with the exception of those who accepted the resignation. None of this is making sense. I'm in the same position, 1 week shy of being out of probation, and I have to be in tomorrow and do the same thing. I'm a single mom with 3,000 rent payment and I'm devastated. So basically, they've asked her to come in, so she thinks she might be losing her job. This is just too much, to be honest with you. I understand your pain. I'm sitting at my desk in an IRS building waiting to receive my termination email and start offboarding. Got the same news today. I broke down when I heard my department and me were getting let go because it's only me and my mom, and I was receiving the most income in the house and rent is coming up. I've been sitting in my room trying to figure out what I need to do. I feel you. What's your job title? My husband and I are both federal worker. If we lose our jobs, I'm done. Hopefully your manager has a desk for you and that's why you need to take your equipment. The lady that made the video, she actually got fired. I am a federal employee too, and every day I open my email just waiting for mine to pop in. But there are some agencies still hiring, especially under the DoD organizations. Look at hospitals and within HR.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. This is a difficult conversation, and I want to be direct while also ensuring that you have all the information and support that you need. As you know, your position has been subject to a probationary trial period, which is standard practice to assess whether employees meet the necessary performance and conduct expectations for continued employment. You will receive your termination notice via email shortly, and it will include the reason for termination. As a result, your employment with the Office of Personnel Management will end today. Your physical and IT system access will be deactivated by 3 p.m. Eastern today, and we ask that you gather your personal belongings and exit the premises by 3 p.m. Eastern as well.
Hi everyone, please pardon my appearance as it is after 4 a.m. on Tuesday, February 18th, and I wanted to come on here as one of the thousands of federal employees who lost their job with the federal government this weekend. More specifically, I was removed from my position through an email from an unrecognized HR account from my agency around 1 p.m. on Saturday of this holiday weekend. No one within my chain of supervision was involved in this decision. I have gone through the entire range of emotions this past weekend. There is a lot of sadness in my heart. There is also a lot of anger. The firing of thousands of federal employees across the government is going to have detrimental impacts on regular people like yourself watching this video. My position with my healthcare agency was involved in Affordable Care Act health insurance marketplace policy and operations. And so I was one of the people regulating health insurers to make sure that they were not selling you junk insurance, making sure that they were covering all the benefits that they had to cover, charging you a fair amount of cost sharing, making sure that they weren't discriminating against you based on your health conditions or health status. And with fewer people like myself in the government, you can imagine the impact that that will have on the regulation of massive corporations. And I think that's part of the point of all of this. I have gone back and forth all weekend with what comes next for me. I was a dentist before moving to DC. I graduated from dental school and put my clinical career on pause in order to move here and try to make a difference. I wanted to make dental care more accessible and affordable for people, and I felt like I finally had that opportunity in this job that I was just let go of. one of the hardest parts of all of this is that I don't know if I've really made a difference. I'm really at a loss for direction right now in what I'm doing with my life, and I'm really not sure what comes next for me, but whatever it is, hoping to make the best of it, as we always do, and really appreciate all the love and support of people out there who recognize just how cruel this is.
When she said she wasn't sure if she really made a difference, that really got to me. I feel for her. It's not easy to be losing your job in this current economy, especially something you love doing. You know, sometimes you get a job, you feel so comfortable, and you feel like, oh, this is going to be for life until you get retired, because it's a federal government job. The security is there, but this is not the case. And just imagine yourself being in a position where you go to work, you don't know if you're getting the next email to get fired. That is actually working on your mental health. It's not funny. Let's see what people are saying. Federal workers and their work are invisible until they are not there. Stay strong. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I'm also a probationary employee after being a contractor for the same agency for 15 years. My email is supposed to come today. I'm so sorry, federal worker here. Hanging on, but my mental health is fraying. Sending you positive vibes. I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. We are all sitting and waiting to see what's going to happen next, because the way they are laying people off is something else. I know some people would say this is normal. People in non-governmental organizations get laid off all the time. Before this whole federal employee layoff became something, people have been talking about the struggle of finding jobs. The job market is not friendly. People are getting laid off all the time. But it's very different, because with federal work, there's this job security. That's what we are talking about. That's what I'm talking about. It's this job security. To think your job is secured and then boom, it's been taken away from you. It's heartbreaking.
Okay, am I in a stressful situation? Is this situation a little stressful? I don't sense no stress.
If I have to be just bluntly honest, the way the federal workers are losing their jobs seems like a hostile takeover. They got that letter from OPM, like got it at night when they were at home, probably not even checking their emails. There was an offer for a buyout or resignation with very few days to think about it. Most people are saying, oh, he's cutting waste from the government. But if that were the case, each person's job would have been evaluated. Their performance would have been evaluated in some cases. They'd have been put on a performance improvement plan, and there are usually conversations about how to improve, but none of this happened. People were eliminated from their jobs without even a plan for restructuring the departments or putting other people in those places or consolidating roles. None of this discussion happened like you would normally see in a workplace. This is essentially a takeover. I'm coming in and you guys are getting out. But if you think about Project 2025, it did say that federal employees will be replaced by Trump loyalists. So they probably have in mind people that they want for those positions already. And these people may not even be qualified to do those jobs.
She just might be right. I know he had the Project 2025 out there, and I think most people that voted didn't look at it. I know right now people that didn't vote for Trump are laughing at people that are getting laid off. They're like, oh, we told you, oh, this is what you deserve, oh, you voted for this, oh, please stop complaining and all that. But I know some people voted and they didn't know what they were voting for. Some people didn't look at the Project 2025. Another angle to this is this. They could have looked at it, but no one ever thought it was going to happen to them. They didn't think it was going to come in this format. honestly. This is not something that happens on a regular. This is not something the country is used to. So no one thought it was going to happen this way, because you can't just wake up and fire someone. And this is federal work, federal government workers. You don't just fire people anyhow. With non-government workers, they have policies. So I don't think people ever thought it was going to happen this way. Just wake up over the weekend, you lose your job. They didn't think about it this way. They didn't envision this to happen this way. Let's see what people are saying in the comment section. In the regular world, you can get fired with no notice unless you are in a contract, and still they can let you go, or you are in the same type of union. Companies downsize every year. Why? The issue is not about the employee's performance. The issue is that so many positions are redundant and just about pushing papers. We don't need to improve each employee's performance. This is speaking for what is going on. I understand what you're saying, because I was fired at Walmart for someone stealing on our shift. Not only me, the whole crew, because they couldn't find out who was stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of electronics with just gone. So they got rid of the whole team. I get where you are coming from. Most were working from home. Everyone complains about changing the system, but no one has an idea of how to do it. We get a guy that actually is doing something. Agree or not, he is making changes. He's making changes. The change could be positive or negative. The truth of the matter here is this: however you swing it, some people will be affected.
Guess who just got fired via phone call? Me! I was a forestry technician for the USDA Forest Service, and my crew dealt with timber sales and management. So think salvage sales, wildfire mitigation, American lumber product, forest and ecosystem health. So I was still in my probationary period, and I was 3 months away from getting my 1 year. I have put 5 years of my career into public service and natural resources, and this is how we are getting treated right now. Now, my supervisor can't answer any of my questions, like what's going to happen to my last paycheck because they're going to log us out and we won't be able to put in our time. What's going to happen to my health insurance? Am I going to get my separation form, my final one? Because I need that paperwork to apply for unemployment. And these are not merit-based firings. All of my performance reviews my entire career have been stellar, nothing under fully successful. And the legality of this is questionable at best. So I guess if anybody knows any good federal employee lawyers or anyone I can talk to about this, because yeah, this is definitely making my life a lot harder right now. I had to get put on anxiety medication because of all of this stress. It kind of felt a little bit like a weight was lifted off my shoulders when I got the phone call, because now I don't have to worry if I'm gonna be fired anymore because it already happened. But, you know, just ridiculous. It's very much giving tech bro layoff. And for those who don't know, there are certain processes and procedures that must be done before a reduction in force can be enacted. And according to my supervisor, they had zero prior knowledge that this was about to happen. So let's see what happens next, I guess.
Federal employee friends, it's time for the nightly rundown of agencies that have fired individuals or are planning to fire individuals. All of this has been confirmed through individuals who work at those agencies or through news media sources. So we're going to start at the top. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Department of Education, Department of Energy, General Services Administration, Office of Personnel Management, Small Business Administration, U.S. Forest Service, Veterans Affairs, National Nuclear Security Administration, Housing and Urban Development, Center for Disease Control, National Park Service, National Institutes of Health, Environmental Protection Agency, Bureau of Reclamation, Department of Interior, Bonneville Power Association, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Land Management, Indian Health Services, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Federal Emergency Management Agency, Federal Aviation Administration, Department of Transportation, Food and Drug Administration, Federal Mediation and Consolation Services, Federal Highway Association, U.S. Geological Survey, Department of Government Efficiency Service, formerly known as U.S. Department of Digital Services, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, National Science Foundation, Natural Resource Conservation Service, Department of Labor, Department of Commerce, National Weather Service. Oh, starting from Department of Labor, these are new, confirmed today. Department of Labor, Department of Commerce, National Weather Service, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, Veterans Benefit Administration, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Department of Homeland Security, Bureau of Labor Statistics, Corporation for National and Community Services, Department of Treasury, the U.S. Mint, Internal Revenue Services, Public and Indian Housing, Administration for Community Living, National Archives and Records Administration, Federal Railroad Association, National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, U.S. Corps of Engineers, Defense Language Institute, Bureau of Engraving and Printing, Health and Human Services. The list continues to grow. It grew by about half a page just today. If I missed something, if you didn't hear your agency, department, or sub-department, whatever it may be, send me a message. They're open to just about anybody right now. Or leave it in the comments. I'll go through there. I'll try to post another one tomorrow night. I know it's bad news. I'm hoping that those of you that might be in one of these newly listed agencies that hadn't heard about it will have a little bit of heads up if you're probationary, and you'll be able to get all of your records in order. For now, sorry for the bad news. Have a good night.
Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you're yet to do so, and I will see you all in another one. Thanks for watching.